Many iPhone users utilize Apple's speech-to-text feature.
But a new update will let people turn text into speech on Apple devices. The personal voice feature can digitally recreate users' voices for phone calls, FaceTimes, and in-person conversations. All you need to do is record yourself speaking for 15 minutes. Now, it's aimed at assisting people who are losing their ability to speak over time.
Let's bring in TechCrunch senior culture reporter Amanda Silberling. Amanda, we were talking about this and are so interested in all the different potentials for us. Tell us about the benefits that this feature can bring.
Yeah, so for people that have conditions like ALS or other conditions that might make them no longer be able to speak, voice banking is a popular way to try to retain your sense of a voice, quite literally. But that's a really big technological undertaking. And with Apple's personal voice feature, just with 15 minutes of talking, Apple's able to use its neural engine to recreate someone's voice. And that can be really comforting for loved ones of someone who's losing their voice, or that person themselves, just to be able to still have the intonation of their voice that makes them them.
Yeah, I mean, you can certainly see from that perspective the benefits of voice banking, which, by the way, is a term I had never heard
I wrote
before,
it down.
right?
It's so interesting.
It is. But we've also seen a lot of AI-generated voice fakes from musicians like Drake to President Biden and former President Trump. And in Tuesday's Senate Judiciary hearing, Senator Richard Blumenthal even used AI to read a statement that he actually never spoke himself. Let's watch that.
Too often, we have seen what happens when technology outpaces regulation. The unbridled exploitation of personal data, the proliferation of disinformation, and the deepening of societal inequalities. We have seen how algorithmic biases can perpetuate discrimination and prejudice.
I mean, that is amazing to hear that, Amanda. What are the potential risks and dangers of this feature?
Yeah, so I think like with a lot of technology, AI is a double-edged sword. There are ways in which it's helping people. There are ways in which it could be really, really dangerous. And I think that Senator Blumenthal's speech shows just how powerful deepfakes can be. I think at the outset, it seems like Apple is considering these privacy issues. Right now, for when the feature rolls out, you're going to be able to make sure that it only remains on your device. Like the literal creation of this voice double of you is happening on your personal device. And then if you want to share that across your iCloud account with other devices, that's something that the user has to opt into. And if it is on iCloud, Apple says that it'll be encrypted. But I think that these are really good questions for consumers to be asking and to be thinking about before using this kind of technology.
Yeah, Amanda, when you brought up voice banking, it caused a light to just go on in my mind, and I imagine in many people's minds, even with all of these guardrails that Apple says that they're putting on it by keeping it locally on your device. I'm wondering about the implications for people maybe after they've deceased. Can you still hear a message from your grandmother that you could send to yourself in her voice? And are people's voices then their own property if it's been generated by a computer?
I think that's a really good question. I don't know if there's been any formal legal rulings about things like that, but it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out in the future. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see people writing in their wills like what they want to happen to their digital likeness. And yeah, I mean, these are really good questions for people to be considering.
And, you know, I'm wondering, Amanda, in the creation of this, maybe it's still too early yet to know the answer to this question, but for those people who are disabled, who have disabilities, and are meant to benefit from technology like these new features from Apple, is there a sense yet of how they feel about them?
So with this particular personal voice feature, Apple worked with people that are in the disabled community, people that have ALS and are advocates for people with ALS. And I think that's a good sign when a tech company is considering that they need to be working in tandem with the people that they're aiming to serve. But I also think that not every disabled person is the same, and different people have different accessibility needs. And that is also why it's a good thing when accessible tech is very customizable to apply to varieties of different needs.
Right. And regardless of whatever technology it is, always important to ask, who's at the table making these decisions and helping to shape the way in which this technology is actually created. Amanda Silberling, Amanda, thank you so much.